are we equipped enough to compete in the LLM race?
India mein the margin of error is very less as compared to US.
How does the Indian ecosystem compare in that ways to the US ecosystem?
India is not yet a market where people will fund failure to learn from it.
You can't undo this. If you have gone through an undergraduate program, you've gone through it. You can't really undo it.
You will be gone because of AI.
2018 May you said that you created your first large-scale AI model.
Yeah. We built a completely agentic model ATS.
You know what's funny? All this while, we have been making technology smarter and more intelligent. But today, the same technology is asking us what to do with this intelligence. Because building things with AI is ridiculously easy. You are in a coffee shop and you build your product, and by the time you finish your coffee, you are ready with the deployment version. In such an era, where building anything by anyone is so easy, how do we find real value? That is the topic of today's discussion. Hi, I am Piyush Nangru, and this is Out of Office, where founders, creators, and innovators step out of their office and share their journeys of innovation. The person I am sitting with today has lived through this shift. An engineer from IIT Delhi, he has been part of the founding teams at leading EdTech companies, where he created one of the earliest large-scale AI learning models. A tech genius, a serial entrepreneur, and currently he's building Gata.ai, an Agentic AI platform, and we will talk about it more. Prateek Shrivastava, great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Let's start from your college days.
Right.
Biotech from IIT Delhi. Very impressive. I also hear that you are in the same batch as Sachin Bansal and Ashneer Grover.
Right.
And you chose Biotech, right? Now, what was the rationale behind it? Were you passionate about it, or something went through your mind? Like, why did you choose Biotech?
Basically, I had both biology and math in my 11th and 12th, and I wanted to go in this field only, but I realized I cannot be a doctor. So I thought this is the next best thing that I could do. And also, at that time we had a saying, biotech ka boom aane wala hai. So that's what also was a motivator.
That was a time when every engineering college, started biotech and then slowly.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that doctor to nahi ban sakte the. What does that mean?
Actually, मेरे biology में 55 number आए थे 12th में. So biology was not the chemical side of the biology was more interesting than the organs and the other things.
Okay, got it. Fair. But if I look at your career, you started with com science only, right? So लिया biotech आपने, but your career was in tech. So what's the story behind it?
Yeah, so I was gearing towards, in fact, I got a internship in biotechnology in Germany for 2 years in my third year. But in the winters of third year, my father passed away. And my home conditions were like that I had to switch career because biotechnology का boom आने में time लगता. But मुझे तो नौकरी अगले 2 साल में ही चाहिए थी, तो that's why I geared towards and even in biotechnology, I was more inclined towards bioinformatics, which is on the sequencing of the DNA side and using softwares to identify, which is again, by the way, it's now currently booming by all the DNA histories that you have, and now you can actually predict what diseases a kid could have in future based on the DNA, right? So I was thinking of working in that way, but not in that precision at that manner. But that is more on the tech side and on the data side, less on the bio side of it. So that was the...
Got it. And you have had quite a bit of entrepreneurial journey, as your own startups as well as in founding teams. So maybe let's pick from there and talk about your first startup, which was MyAdCorner. And that time, it was not all about digital, right? It was primarily, offline print media. So maybe, just let our viewers know about MyAdCorner. What was the concept, and how was it received at that time?
Right. So this was started in 2008, and back in 2008, you did not have a lot of classified websites like 99 Acre for property. Shadi.com was there, but yeah,
Your
not
typical Internet 2.0, basically.
yeah. So if a SME or let's say a property dealer from Meerut, from Mathura, they want to get new clients, there was no other way other than newspaper ads. Now, newspaper ads typically work in a 90-10 model, wherein their 90% revenue comes from 10% clients and their 10% revenue comes from their classified. So, उनकी कोई इज्जत नहीं होती थी वहाँ पे, and कोई transparency भी नहीं थी. So I went to a agency, print agency, and I saw a guy sitting with a 10,000 rupee check in his hand, and I'm talking about 2008, और उसकी कोई इज्जत नहीं. And I was thinking ऑनलाइन में अगर कोई 100 रुपये भी खर्च करता है उसकी बहुत इज्जत है. So then I decided कि this is a problem where we can solve, we can bring a lot of transparency. And the model was, you help SMEs, you build their base, and then you, as the media transforms from newspaper to an online digital world, and when they start getting the leads from online, we will the one telling them that now you will get leads from online also. So that was the model. We actually, which was again a feat, in back in 2009, we raised funds for it, and we scaled it to close to $1 million revenue in a year. Was pretty good.
Wow.
But then we hit a roadblock wherein we realized that Series A won't be possible because our primary revenue source is newspaper, and everybody knew that newspapers.
It's only timed.
It's only timed, right? No matter of convincing, no, we will take them online.
Yeah.
Did not stick. While at the same time, OLX on the same model actually picked up. Yeah. They are a horizontal classified player. So we sold it to one of our competition, and we kind of trade on.
Got it. Great. And from here, your journey to EdTech started. You've been part of founding teams of a couple of big EdTech companies. Right. What was your learning with? I don't think they were even called EdTech at that time. Now we refer them as EdTech in hindsight.
Yeah.
But what was your major learning there?
Interesting that you bring it up. So because there is a lot of misconception around the tech part of it. Like for example, if a coaching teacher teaches using Zoom, is it an EdTech? I don't think so. Right. By that logic, my coaching teacher uses mic to teach me back in 90s. So he was also an EdTech. EdTech is, any tech is primarily is when you create a product that is proprietary or at least used by people. You are not using other technology and calling it EdTech is not essentially an EdTech. Second is, in EdTech, there are two sides to the story. One is the counseling side and another is the learning side. On the counseling side, it's a huge responsibility on the aggregators to be very, very, very transparent. What do I mean by that is simple. In India,
And both your these companies were aggregators.
Yeah. So both College Dekho and Career 360 were aggregators. Yeah. Now, if I'm an aggregator of cars, if I'm an aggregator of mobiles, if I sell you a bad mobile, I don't have that much on my conscience, right? But if I give you a bad college, I'm destroying 3 generations. Yeah. I cannot do that, right? So you have to be extremely careful about what you're advising to the student, extremely empathetic about their people sell their खेत बेच करके पढ़ाते हैं बच्चों को. You cannot be part of a revenue side of it, the profits or other profit making side of it. And by the way, the intention is always good, but when you start doing it at scale and you have 100 counselor, you cannot guarantee even the last counselor will be good.
Wow. Yes.
Right. So that's that's my learning. The other EdTech side, on the learning EdTech side, I believe, as I said, that e-learning is more close to self-study than it is to classroom learning. So the kind of discipline and the rigor a classroom can bring, e-learning cannot bring. And any claims to that is a false claim. So you have to make the product so interesting that it becomes like a PUBG. that people are studying on it and having fun, gamified way. Nobody did
Right
that.
now has cracked it.
Yeah, nobody. Duolingo, to
Duolingo
a
is
certain
also-
extent, has cracked it, but then the learning outcome is questionable there.
Yeah.
Because
And very capsule sized as well.
yeah, very capsule side. I think there is a very good study on this. Back when they could do experiments on kids, there was a 2 sigma problem, which essentially they did 40 students in one class taught by teachers in a group, 40 students in one class taught on one-on-one. And then they reversed it next semester. And then they did the study and they realized the student who are taught one-on-one are 2 sigma level above than the student who are taught in classroom. So now, but one-on-one is not scalable. How will you find so many teachers, as many as the students? Which I think now is possible with AI. So I think we are at the cusp of
Yeah.
EdTech again, e-learning again changing.
Right. So we will come to that for sure. But I think the point which you mentioned about, education being a very big responsibility, apart from the fact that families put their, years of savings behind the children, it's also a one-way door. Like you can't undo this. If you have gone through an undergraduate program, you've gone through it. You can't really undo it. So it's a very important one-time decision which you have to take. So you really can't go wrong there. Which is why I think the point of responsibility which you made is very important. So from here on, now the exciting phase starts where you again get back to real entrepreneurial journey.
Right.
And you are building Gata.ai, right? So tell us about that, the exciting part about that.
So there are 3-4 different problems in education e-learning space. One is definitely, as I spoke about, engagement part. Another problem is the delta between what is taught in professional colleges versus what is required in industry. And I think with the technology changing so fast, I mean, it won't be easy for the colleges to keep up with the demand, right? And for simple example, if a college is teaching you Java, it's not a good college. Node.js maybe, Python yes, but definitely not Java. So that's a second problem. And the interesting solution here could be that there are a lot of people who are teaching new age things on YouTube and making decent money out of it also. But then again, even I can't sit for an hour and just watch a teaching. I can watch a movie, I can watch a podcast, but I cannot watch a teaching thing. So what Gata.ai does is essentially it goes through the whole video. It divides it into small consumable topics and then also creates questions on those topics and notes, and then starts teaching you like a teacher does one-on-one. So it will ask you a question. If you correct it, it will ask you a harder question. If you incorrect it, it will show you the video, which is long. Instead of an hour, it is 3-minute video of that topic. And it will make sure till you don't understand the topic, you can't go out of this topic. Now, as for the GTM, because today product creation is easy, but GTM is the key. Now in education, another thing that is very typical to education, that initial 10% revenue is very easy. Tomorrow I start a tuition, I'll get 10 students.
Yeah.
From 10 to 100, it's a different
journey.
Right. And it's not a pure play marketing game, unlike e-commerce or other domains, right? It's a brand game. It's a trust game, right? You have to prove your worth over the years, then only that 100 will come. You can bring 100 with marketing, but then you crash. And recently we saw
many examples
like that, right? So in Gata right now, what we are doing is essentially we have opened it up for users to start studying, and we are trying to reach a tipping point wherein student actually loves studying here. Once we reach that, once that trust is there, then we will think about raising funds or going to market and things like that. Right?
The way you have described the product, it sounds that you have taken a lot of inspiration from Duolingo, which you mentioned earlier also, right? Because like breaking it into smaller parts, adapting it to the the difficulty level which the user has already adapted to?
So actually, I didn't know Duolingo. I created this kind of product in 2018 for Careers 360 called Entrance Corner.
Okay.
And we did it for JEE. And we said, okay, for example, complex number is 2.5 hour lecture. Student will not study online. So what did we do? We actually created 5 minute video on 40 concepts, right? And then we created questions on that, and then we started serving it, which was the large learning model that I created at the time of Career 60, which was called AI Coach.
Okay.
And we saw the engagement there, a lot of engagement from the student side, because studying became fun, studying became easier, and also it will not allow you to go out of a concept till you don't completely understand it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the problem is the capex is very high in e-learning, or used to be very high, because your capital investment in creating those 5 minutes video goes very high. And the videos, even if the study material is same, becomes stale year on year. So if you are serving the same video, students don't like it. They want fresh. Now, so that is why in Gata, we are not creating anything. We are just using what is available in the public domain on YouTube and just converting it into an interactive course like that.
Got it. And 2018 May, you said that you created your first large scale AI model.
Yeah.
And I'm sure these things were not very common back then, right?
Right.
So, talk about that high, or, when you created that, within the org, or even, personally for yourself, how did that feel?
So this is very interesting. And by the way, if you think about it, everything is very scientific, right? So like, for example, in JEE Main, rotational motion weightage is, and based on years of analysis of paper, is, let's say, 15%. Now, in a 1 year course, 15% of our time will be devoted by coachings on rotational motion. Okay, and we saw this, that there was a bell curve created for rotational motion. There were students who were getting it like that, and they were able to do it in like 2 hours.
Wow.
Right, and there were students who did it more than 13 hours, 15 hours, and then the curve came to exactly the 12 hours. The bell curve actually came to the 12-hour mark, which was the 15% of the overall time spent in physics.
Wow.
Right. So when the technology mimics the real data which is available offline, that's a different high. And well, close to 11,000 students studying real time on your platform without any human intervention. That's another,
And were there like comparables at that time?
No, actually. So we did have conversations with a lot of Amazon was launching Amazon Academy. We had a conversation with them too, because again, in education, brand is required, right? So somebody needed to make it a Careers has a very good brand, but it's on the counseling side, not on the coaching side. So, but because of the turmoil that was happening in EdTech, everybody was going for the kind of live classes, which I knew wouldn't work in a long term, but everybody was going for live classes model and doing a lot of marketing and branding around that. I think a lot of teachers were also being poached from coachings and other places, right? So that also happened.
Right. So you are figuring out the GTM, you're figuring out the volumes, but then you need to do something to meet your daily bills. Kharcha pani to chahiye.
Yeah, especially when you are bootstrapped and you have family and kids and all. So I have worked with a lot of companies as a consultant CTO. One of them was Wishfin, which was a fintech aggregator of loans. उनका legacy tech को पूरा modernize करवाया, make them AI ready. And then interestingly, recently I worked with a company called Athena. For them, we built a completely agentic model ATS. So no human required, from starting from JD creation to hiring. Only the AIs are working for the whole journey. So, and it's deployed with clients, and clients are really happy with it. So amazing.
Wow. एक बार अगर हम इस प्रोसेस को पूरा वॉक थ्रू करें कि पहले क्या होता था और जो एथेना में आपने एजेंट बनाया, उसके बाद से वो दुनिया अब कैसे चल रही है. so that we can get an idea of,
Yeah, so I think it will be very interesting to just discuss one product, SaaS. ठीक है, ATS की बात करते हैं. ATS is essentially application tracking system. So first principle में let's break it down to multiple problems. First is कि मेरी जॉब पोजीशन ओपन हुई, फिर मैंने उसका JD क्रिएट किया, फिर मैंने उसको डिसाइड किया कि मैं उसको कहाँ कहाँ डालूंगा, whether it's LinkedIn, Indeed or Naukri, and this is also a little science in it कि आपको किस लेवल की प्रोफाइल चाहिए, so you can decide on that. Then I have to give some place for those guys to apply. Now I have to rank them, right? This is good, this is bad, because the volume is not usually high. So you cannot have an efficient system if you are doing all interviews. So you have to start with high ranking to lower ranking, and then interview 1, interview 2, interview 3. Then you have to offer, negotiate, and then do the onboarding. And by the way, onboarding also involves the background verification, compliance, etc. Now, when I have to create an ATS, I have to keep a HR recruiter in mind. So I will start with how good he will be or she will be in creating JD, and how can I assist her in giving her a kind of a, how do you say, what you see is what you get, editor, right? And then I will give her APIs to just push a button to post it on LinkedIn, and then so on and so forth. Now, when you create SaaS, you have to think, how can I do her job using an agent? Okay, so all you have to do is say, I need a Java or I need a Python developer in Gurgaon, 3 year experience. One agent will come, it will create a JD. Now that JD will be now broken down into multiple measurable skills, location, salary range, blah blah blah. Now these will be automatically posted on LinkedIn. Now when you apply, and real time agent will sit and just give you a score. So his task is done. Now application window closes, another agent sees, okay, these are the interviews, people are in the pipeline. He will schedule those interviews, level 1 interviews, with another agent. So now agent is taking the interview, level 1 interview, and then only the top 3%, 5% will go to the level 2 where the human is required. So you have to now think completely different, right? This is today when you are building something, you cannot think of improving a person's life, only that. You have to think beyond that. How will I make this business more profitable, more efficient, without having any human involved?
Right. Very, very interesting. Recently we ran this AI Fellows program in our own organization, where 15 odd employees, they created their own AI agents for the job roles for a specific function task which they were doing on a day-to-day basis, and we came out with 15 working prototype agents of different tasks, ranging from social media content creation to finance reconciliation to placement job verification for students, all those things, right? And what we realized is that whether your objective is to improve the process or your objective is to create efficiency, both of them happen simultaneously. The agents which were targeted at improving the process nonetheless also created efficiency, and the agents which were targeted at improving efficiency also created a better process. Right. So that's something which is very magical about AI agents.
Definitely. And so I usually give an example of, like, the first time mobile phones came to India, the first industry to die was alarm clocks. Right. Now nobody could have imagined, no financier could have imagined this, ki alarm clock industry will die after the mobile phone came. Right. Similarly, it's hard to fathom, because of dawn of AI, what will change, how much it will change. But yeah, this is like the right time to get on this boat. Otherwise, you will find you will find yourself on the side of the people who lose out because of AI. So either ride the wave or be the one who are left behind.
So just on this topic, it's anybody's guess, right? But still, if we, let's say, talk of immediate term, and by immediate term I mean 2, 3, 5 years, not beyond that, right? what do you see changing in the jobs landscape, and specifically how does it impact some of the students who are right now, studying CS or maybe even other courses?
What you're doing and what you're planning to do is same on day-to-day basis, you will be gone because of AI. That will be gone because of AI. So if you are doing same thing on a day-to-day basis in your job or whatever, from a
Let's take few job roles for example.
JD creator, for example.
Okay, yeah, fair.
A digital marketer had a people of 8 people who are just doing creative work,
Yeah.
creating designs every day, right? Then
Fair.
well, now it's not like all 8 of them are gone. One is still required to ensure the quality and company's compliances and other things, but 7 are not there. Right? So these are if you are a typist in development, then you are gone, right? I remember in early days, the thinking part was 20%, the typing part was 80% for any code, HTML or starting from basic HTML to Java, JBoss application to Python, everything. Now typing is done by AI. You have to think about the algorithm, you have to think about the business fitment and things like that. And uh, one of the things that students should look at is that their role will change. They will not have a learning time, so their role will day zero become a manager of an AI. So they are responsible for the AI's output,
Yeah.
right? Which something people do after 5 years of experience, that they are responsible for a fresher's output or training that fresher. But now freshers will be the managers immediately, just the moment they enter into the world.
So we need to visualize AI agents as team members.
Yeah.
So I might be entering a role and I have, let's say, 2 humans and 14 AI agents as my team.
Right. And you will not, students will not have time to get accustomed to a company, right? They will be, well, it will be a high demanding thing, right? You have to perform within first week, second week, third week, like that, right? Because another interesting thing, because of, like, for example, ChatGPT, people thought people will stop sending emails and then just do. In fact, the emails have increased because now anybody can write an email. People used to think 3-4 hours before sending an email, right?
I see it every day. The
Right.
quality of replies have gone up tremendously, but you are able to
Yeah. Right. In fact, I appreciate more now who don't use AI to write the email because it kind of zazzes it up and you lose the suspense around it. So yeah.
So bringing a little bit of human angle here, when there is so much of content creation, uh, digital, text, emails, visual with VO3 and all, uh, you know, uh, do you think the importance of face to face, the importance of human connection is going to go up?
Amazingly up. See, we are going to reach a utopia in a way, right? So right now, I don't like to sit in 2 hours in traffic if I have to go to Noida, right? Nobody does. I would rather spend it with my friends, with my family. In fact, हमें बीइंग फ्रॉम मिडिल क्लास हमें बचपन से पढ़ाया जाता है कि अभी 2 साल पढ़ लो फिर आराम करना. वो 2 साल
Perennial state है.
पेरेनियल स्टेट है, वो कभी आता नहीं है, बट आ जाएगा. अब मुझे लगता है बिकॉज ऑफ AI, the importance of human connection will be re-realized, and like I'm having a good time with you. If we were doing it meet, less good time, and if I were talking to AI, no good time. Like that. So
Okay. I think the whole importance of human networks is going to come back. We had a phase during COVID where everything sort of moved online and we realized that it's not needed. And now when so much of it is there and people are not even able to differentiate at times, I think the power of human connection is going to go up so high that we are going to really value this face-to-face time with each other. And again, all those meetings and travels and everything has really gone up. And I think AI is only going to fuel that because people would really long, and the authenticity of it really matters.
right. And I mean, I will go to an extent. I'll say the filters on Instagram will also go away.
Why do you say so?
Because if everybody is beautiful, then non-beautiful person is the beautiful person.
Oh wow, very beautifully said. Wow, great. So we talked about how college students should approach this era, but what about the curriculum, the pedagogy, the way teaching is done? How do you think that should be changed, if at all? And you yourself are an engineer from IIT. If you were to design, let's say, how education should happen in an engineering college like IIT, what would you say? How would you design that?
It's a very difficult question because the things are changing so fast in technology that, like even if an year ago you had asked me, I would have said Python, Python, Python. Now I will say Python or any language is not required because that will be written by the AI. So I will say first principles, basic logic, basic pedagogy, focusing on depth of understanding is more important than rote learning. If it was ever true, it is very true with the dawn of AI. So depth of understanding and anything, and at least have the way of going to the depth and breaking down a problem into first principles so that you have the clarity of solving it, and then the AI can take over. If you give a problem to an AI with a free hand, it will not be able to do it. Even today, and I don't think even tomorrow.
Yeah. So this is very important because a lot of students would also probably be listening to this. I understand that now is the time where knowing Python, how to code in Python is not required. How to code in Java is not required. But then you are starting from scratch ultimately. Like a 12th grader is getting into engineering. He should he be learning coding at all? Because ultimately there has to be some debugging, there has to be looking at the system design, so all of that will happen. So how should students approach it? Because they are learning those things which they are not required to do.
Right. So as we discussed earlier, like the moment they go into an office, they will be expected to behave like a manager who gets things done from an AI. Now, AI, like a lot of freshers, a lot of employees do make mistake, and ultimately it's your responsibility to fix those. How will you fix those if you don't know the coding part, the learning part? You have to know. There is no escape from it. Like for example, there is a term called vibe coding. I don't think it's a good thing for anybody, by the way. Like I was consulting a company and there were people who have created a basic MVP with vibe coding. And when I asked the developer, make this change or why this error is happening, he said, I don't know, AI did it. So then I told him, ki boss, it's like this. When you search Google, when you do Stack Overflow or some other site and research something and deliver it, for me, it's your responsibility. So same way, you cannot say AI did it. Whatever AI is doing, you have to review it. You have to be the guarding person and then deliver it. So I won't care that AI did it, because if I have to talk to AI only, then why is the need of you being here? So I think yes, you have to learn at least one of the modern languages very well, and especially Python is very good in that way. But you don't have to go in the depth of it that was required earlier on, because the depth problem may be solved by AI. Okay, one of the interesting things we have to understand is AI works with context, and the more context is required, the expensive AI becomes, or running it harder becomes.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So if you give it a whole project of, let's say, 1,000 pages and 1 lakh lines of code and say fix this, it'll make errors. If you choose, okay, this is the folder, this is the file, make these changes, it'll work marvelously. So you have to treat AI like that.
Got it. And this, because of this vibe coding, MVPs have become super easy, and you can really test your startup ideas very quickly. Right. So what we are seeing is that there is a wave of it. Right. How do we really differentiate those which are going to stand the test of time? So what are your thoughts there?
Okay, so first and foremost, we have to divide it into two categories. Like This, by the way, this has happened forever. Like there was an e-commerce boom, there was left, right, and center e-commerce sites.
Absolutely.
Right. And if I could predict, I would have been a millionaire, billionaire now, which will, because I would have invested in that company and I would have made money. But then we have to look at it from a point of view is who's solving the first principle based problem, right? Who's a faff versus who's actually talking about things or solving things which are impacting. One of the things people forget, funding is not a measure of success. I would say your 10th client or your random integer client, how, or for that matter, your consumer, how happy he is and how big a spokesperson for your product is a real indicator. So, if I, let's talk about, for example, an interview taker AI. There are multiple now, multiple. I would select the one for which there is a renewal of contract.
Obviously, that's a proof of the real proof of the pudding.
Right, and that's what matters. So when from a student point of view, when you are thinking of creating something, first don't worry if there are tens of things available, because that's a good sign that the market is available. Because if you create something for which the market is not available, then it's a harder journey versus for which there are 10 competition. Second is you can always do better. Always do better than the, because you will start where those 10 are today. So that's where you will start.
Got it. And how does the Indian ecosystem compare in that ways to the US ecosystem? We have, even in the mobile wave, when the Play Store and the iOS, they were like the base, and on top of that, the apps, they were getting built from everywhere, and we built some great products there as well, right? So is it, are we equipped enough to compete in the LLM race? If yes, why? If not, why? Or there are going to be more, application based game which will now unlock over these LLMs?
First of all, thanks. I mean, a lot of people don't have this level of clarity. So OS, Android, app, Zomato. Right.
Yeah.
Similarly, ChatGPT is kind of a LLM model, while Gata.ai is the app.
Yeah,
right.
fair.
So there's people use a umbrella term. You are working in AI, so you are working in chat. No, you're not. Right. Now, as an entrepreneur, I would not go in the OS game, primarily because I have never been there. That's a different game altogether. It's a large investment requirement.
It's a big boys table.
It's also so for, like you said, India the margin of error is very less as compared to US. So if you take 10 years to build something, nobody will fund you. Right? ChatGPT took 14 years to build, actually. So Amazon took 11 years to become profitable. Yeah. Right? So
I heard 19 somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I'm sure 19 hoga. So that's what, right? So yeah. India is not yet a market where people will fund failure to learn from it. So that's the problem here.
Got it. And I'll take this back to college again. You said that India is not a market where failure is taken, very positively. So, how do you think students across colleges, they should use those 4 years to really fail well? Because because I personally believe, being an entrepreneur thrives, that when you fail, your learning goes to a very different level. Do you think that 4-year period, students should really be, building a lot and failing a lot?
Yeah. So first and foremost, what we discussed was that nobody will fund your failure.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're in college, your parents are already funding your education. So that is a good time to fail.
Yeah.
Right.
And not in your exams, okay?
Yeah, definitely. So again, as you said, if you fail in an exam, your parents will stop funding. So don't fail in exams. Right. But yeah, creating products, failing there. A lot of the students, and again, there will be a bell curve there. There will be a lot of students whose parents will still support them to fail. But there will be other side of the spectrum where parents can't, where parents will say, okay, now get a job. So when will you fail?
Yeah, like you had your stage,
Yeah,
life stage, where you
like-
had to, move from biotech to
Exactly.
CS.
Yeah. So life happens, and it happens fast. So fail now, fail, learn from. And by the way, the only way to learn is failure. There is no other way. You can't learn from success. You can only learn from failure. That's guaranteed. And by the way, failure is also guaranteed. 9 out of 10 times.
Great. So we have talked about failures. Now, I encounter a lot of students who are full of curiosity. They really want to build something, and they're always like, "What are the steps? How do we? Where do we start?" They might have identified even problems at times, but they want to know what are the steps to get this into a startup-ish MVP project mode. So maybe if you can, talk about that.
In this case, I'll make two statements which are highly contradictory. And by the way, startup life is highly contradictory. So one is in Y Combinator, they say you have to talk to 100 people before you write one line of code. Okay, so that means you need to understand what they need, talk to them. The other statement is if you ask people, they will always say better horse cart. They will never say car because they cannot imagine car.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to strike a balance between the two.
Right.
Talk to people, but go beyond what they are saying. You have to talk to 100 people, whatever problem we are solving. Yes, 100, more than 100. Yes, definitely. And then try and go beyond what they are saying. Like, for example, they are saying, I want better horse cart. Why do you want a better horse cart? For a better speed, for a better comfort. Oh, then car may be a good option rather than a better horse cart. Right. So that innovation should come from you after talking to people, not like a blind innovation. Oh, मुझे रात को सपना आया था मैं आज ये बनाने बैठ गया या ये बहुत cool लग रहा है. One of the biggest myth is startup is cool. Startup is grind. Startup is sleepless nights. Startup is as hard as becoming Shah Rukh Khan. Right, and as high a failure rate as there in Bollywood, and same यहाँ पे भी nepotism है. So if your parents are loaded, yes, please. If you have people funding you, yes, please do create, do marketing, whatever. But if you are doing it in a bootstrap way with your own idea, please talk to a lot of people, especially from the industry, and people are available to talk. You just reach out to them on LinkedIn and say, I want to build something, can you please help? They will answer. I have answered a lot of people on their entrepreneur journey product. But be ready, because if somebody is being too kind, they are not being honest. If somebody is being too harsh, they are the one you are talking to. You should be talking to.
Right. So getting the right insight before you even start, right, is very important. But not truly blindly trusting the verbatim insights which the users are saying. That's essentially what we are saying. And what's the next step from there on?
So when you zero in on the idea, definitely today, earlier I would have said, go look for resources, things like that. No, now to just use AI, build that MVP. As simple as that. And do go to market. Go to those 100 people that you spoke to and say, now use this and tell me your feedback. Right? Be very agile about failing fast. Because if those 100 people say, yeah, we will use it, and you don't see a login, then it's not worth it, right? It's not going to work out. But yeah, if you find 9 people who are using it weekly, I will not say daily, you are using it weekly or at least once a month, then you are somewhere. So don't let your emotion, and by the way, people do confuse a startup or a product with a kind of a baby, which is wrong, because you're putting even if you're thinking of your startup as a baby, you are putting too much pressure on your baby of your own ambitions. Baby has to be nurtured. It has to reach a certain level to satisfy your ambitions, right? So college में भी नहीं पहुंचा है, and you are saying कि yeah, so be ready to change, be ready to modify the requirements. So if I simplify it, talk to first 100 people, then go beyond what those 100 are saying, build it, and then ask those same 100 people to try it. If you find traction of at least 9 to 10 people using it weekly or monthly, then actually go out and raise fund, because that's also a validation.
So this is to all the students who always, keep asking that, is this the right idea? Is this, am I on the right problem? That's how to go about it. Get the right insight and don't wait for that perfect product. Ship it, get the feedback, and then improvise. So now, talking about you, right? Your journey from an ad startup in tech to fintech to edtech to now Agentic AI, it's been quite a journey, right? And it has evolved with the landscape, changing landscape as well. But what has one thing, you know, which has stayed with this techie? One principle which has always stayed with you, which you have always abided by. Would love to know that.
Yeah, so uh, one thing is, uh, I mean, most people would have read Ikigai concept.
Yeah,
So, and I go by it. So, why do I make products? It's simple. What do you love to do? What do you get paid to do? What the
passionate.
world need and what you're passionate about? The center of this is where you lie. So, I lie here. I love to make new products and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is my motivation. Second is, most importantly, having the empathy with your consumer or your client. You have to put yourself in their shoes, right? If you don't understand their pain, then you can't, then one day or another they will leave you, and you will feel like, oh, the world is not being kind to me. No, you were the worst one who are not kind. You have to be kind to the needs of others to be able to build a good product. Just because you made it, world will not use it. Simple as that.
Okay, and if you were to recommend books to our viewers, which is that one book, or which are those books which have you really abide by?
Okay, so I read a lot, so I'll recommend three books for especially one. First one is geared towards student. It is Dopamine Detox. Because we are glued to social media, we are glued to our phones, and in YouTube you have videos. When you have functionality, when you do autoplay, it'll play in the next video. In the reels or in the shorts, the functionality is not there. The reason is, whenever you do upswipe, you feel like you are doing something which is giving you a variable reward after the swipe, and which is the next video. So if they do a reel autoplay, you will get bored in 5 minutes. But if you keep swiping, you might do it for 3 hours.
That's very interesting because recently I was reading this statistics where it was a staggering statistic. Instagram average user time in India is some insanely high number, some 7-8 hours.
Right.
So that's probably because of this feature which you are talking. But if so much of eyeballs we are spending, we certainly need dopamine detox.
Right. So when I was in college, there was not much internet. We used to have cafes where we used to go. So we used to get bored a lot, and I realized that getting bored a lot is required for the creativity. If you're not bored, then you will not find any small creative task interesting. So one is Dopamine Detox. Second is, if you're thinking of creating any agentic product, please do read Hooked. Even though it's before Agentic AI. The book is called Hooked by Nir Ayal, and it talks about how to create very addictive products. Again, in contrast to dopamine. But yeah, basically it's science. Science can be used for evil and good. So you can use it for good. And third is Fear by. It primarily talk about what the nature of fear is and how to conquer it. All three is a must read.
Okay, Prateek, you have been an entrepreneur. You have been part of founding teams. What is that one pitching, selling idea or or way of pitching which you swear by, and specifically in this era of decks and all flowing around, but what is that one way to really pitch your idea which can make it impactful?
Okay, so we have to divide it into two different pitches. First, very clearly, it should be B2C and B2B separate. Pitching a B2C is separate and B2B is completely different. Now, if you're doing a B2C problem solving, the person who talks about how much the engagement will come, how much the consumption will happen on the app, is the clear winner. While in the B2B, the person who talks about how much cost it will decrease or how much revenue it will increase is a clear winner. And again, it boils down to very simple. If you are talking to, and by the way, when you're doing B2B pitch to an investor, you should be doing it to a client way. That the way you will pitch your product to a client, same way you should do it to an investor.
Like, what's the problem you are?
Yeah, how will it will increase your revenue or how will it will decrease your cost? And it should be one of the things that Steve Jobs used to do is always have one idea per slide. I find that very good because that makes you think about your idea again and again and again and again. And how do I make those 4 lines into 1 line? Which also resonates with the other person. And again, the other person may have a shorter attention span if they are not able to relate to it. So you keep banging on the point, but keep one line over there so that there is no distraction and then pitch it. Simplicity always wins.
Great. Prateek, one of the customs here on Out of Office is that we always take one question from our guest for the next guest. So I'm going to pass you an envelope, which we will not open. We will open it in the next episode only.
Yeah.
And maybe you can write your question and we'll all see it in the next episode.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Prateek.
Yeah.
This is what the show is about. It's also about questions and not only answers, about staying curious. So thanks a lot for this.
This was very invigorating. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prateek. The podcast was very insightful. Thank you. That's it for today, for this episode. This is Piyush Nangru signing off. Till then, stay curious, keep building, and do step out of your office once in a while.